I think what you're going to find by the end of this video is that A's fans have it way more difficult than any other team, and nobody else should really complain, all things considered, and it's not even close.
Here's Brody Brazil.
Yes, here we are at the World Series, and it's that time of year for baseball fans across North America to just be upset. Not all baseball fans, like there's two teams competing for the ultimate prize. They're very happy in Arizona and Texas. But yeah, Atlanta, Mets fans, Chicago fans on both sides, they're all very disappointed because their season, for one reason or another, just did not go as expected or planned or hoped. And you think about the commitment of a baseball season, everybody back in February was pumped up. They were bought in. They were believing. And that was a long time ago. Baseball's such a long season. 9 months, basically, from spring training all the way to the Fall Classic. So yeah, we'll have November baseball this year in a season that started right around Valentine's Day. That felt like forever ago. All that commitment turns into a letdown at some point. There were teams that were a bust in the regular season. I mean, the Padres and Mets and Yankees and those payrolls and star players that just did not appear even in the playoff mix. In fact, the Padres held on to all of their core players, their stars. The Mets shed right before the trade deadline. Obviously, the Yankees had Aaron Judge and a bunch of injuries this year. The White Sox had expectations. The Mariners made the playoffs last year. Couldn't get back in this year. And the Cardinals, I think it was the first time in like multiple decades that they finished last in their division. So if you're a fan of these teams, you didn't even make it to the playoffs and your team was a bust throughout the regular season. That had to sit with you for many months. Whoa! They're burning away? And then there's teams that made the playoffs but got bounced. The Dodgers, how much they spent. The Phillies, how far they got, overcoming Atlanta and then getting overtaken by the Diamondbacks in Game 7. Minnesota, not a great division. They had an okay team. They just wanted to win a playoff game and series this year. The Orioles were a surprise story, a great story, just couldn't cut it in the postseason. The Astros in that all-Texas ALCS couldn't get past the Rangers, and obviously the Rays, with another storybook season, they just could not do it in the postseason, and I guess we're just lighting everybody up in flames here. Atlanta, they had 104 wins this year, led baseball. They were the pride of baseball, probably have the NL MVP on their team. Star-studded roster, they were the heavy favorites to win it all. They were eliminated in the NLDS. So there's got to be some disappointment by Atlanta fans, obviously. And I'm just running through the list here of why every team has a different reason. How about the Angels? They didn't even make the playoffs. They weren't even close. Ohtani got injured. Trout missed a bunch of time. But how about this offseason? They might lose 2 generational talents. I'm painting, I should say, a worst-case scenario. Ohtani likely gone. I do not see how that happens, that he comes back. But what if Mike Trout has had enough? No playoffs since 2014. Can't even get on a team with a winning record. Ohtani and Trout wasted for all those years, basically almost a decade. Their combination of talents, not a full decade, but you know what I'm saying. Like, this team might ultimately be changing completely by the start of next year. And even here locally in Northern California, the Giants fans are frustrated. They had 107 wins a couple years ago. They want a bit of improvement. They want their next franchise superstar. They just missed out on Judge last year, even though I think that was more of a Yankees showmanship type deal. And the Correa thing didn't work out, but that's fine. Honestly, it wasn't meant to be. But they want their next superstar player. So they're a bit restless in San Francisco, and I totally get it. Look, I think that I'm burning them too. I think the point is here, all of this, understandable and normal. I love the passion. Baseball fans don't want to be let down. Sports fans are used to some inherent form of disappointment or frustration. If you love your team, they're not going to win it all every year. So all this stuff is normal, to be frustrated with your team. But there is one difference. If you're a fan of the Oakland A's right now, nobody across baseball has it like A's fans do right now. On a multitude of levels. I mean, not just the last 6+ months where the team has basically said, we're done in Oakland, even though we're not officially in Las Vegas. We're going to be putting all of our focus into getting out of here, into moving away after being around for 50+ years. We're putting all of our focus. We're ending our attempts to try and stay here. We're putting all of our focus into leaving you. And my point is just to say, and really not exaggerate here. Like, I challenge you to tell me that any fan base has it tougher than the Oakland A's. You could talk about losing games. You can talk about losing players. You can talk about losing a playoff series. Of course, all those things are frustrating. But have you ever lost a team before? For good? Maybe for the rest of your life? Think about that for a second. I don't mean to minimize all the other frustrations of baseball fans across the continent. I really don't. Again, I just said that was normal. But here's some perspective. Nobody has it like A's fans right now. The last couple years, and this has been going on really heavily for the last 6-7 months, but going back to 2021, everybody just gets over 2020. And early in that baseball season, parallel paths with Las Vegas are announced. Okay, Oakland's on the clock. The pressure is on. This is a multi-horse race. 2022, there are a bunch of approvals. EIR comes out. EIR gets certified. EIR gets approved. BCDC comes out. But then there's this silence at the end of 2022, which carries over into 2023. And you're figuring, like, what exactly is going on here? How are these negotiations going? A lot of silence, a lot of questions, a lot of frustrations. We thought it was for mutual benefit. Turns out maybe it wasn't. Then in 2023, all of the plans for Oakland are abandoned in mid to late April, the 19th. It comes out that the A's are putting all of their focus towards a prior Las Vegas site, the Wild Wild West Casino, which then they eventually pivoted to the Tropicana site. But that's been the burden that A's fans have been sitting on now for more than 6 months. The entire baseball season, literally, is that Oakland was getting abandoned. And you saw the fan movements, you saw the messages, you saw the frustrations about as best as possible as it could be displayed by fans. They don't have much of a control over this, but they do have their say, and they communicated that as best as possible. And all of that leading to potentially 2024 being the final season in Oakland for the A's. Quite honestly, who knows about 25, 6, or 7, but also quite honestly, what do those years matter if 2028 is a for sure exit and departure? So it could be a farewell season of 2024. It could be a farewell 4 years, a 4-year farewell. Ooh, it's a tongue twister. But all of that is not going to help any of this and how A's fans have it right now. And that's my main point of this video. I don't really want to go over it too many times. I could, because I feel that strongly about it. But when I see upset baseball fans this time of year, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. But just take into perspective that if you think you have it bad right now, I can show you far worse. And that's the end of the video. You made it here. I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.